ChessKid.com, the world's largest chess website, is thrilled to announce a partnership with five-time world champion Grandmaster Vishy Anand, undisputably the best Indian player of all time. Some would say the best chess player of all time. And what better way to show off how much joy he's brought to his fans by taking a look at his 3 best chess moves of all time. In this first position, it looks like the black king is tucked away safe, but not for the tiger from Madras. He opens up the king like a can of worms with rook takes e6. And after pawn takes, let's throw some more wood on the fire. Bishop to e7 check, uncorking the queen's attack on the bishop. And after the king captures, he got the bishop back. The king would love to travel backward, but the rooks need to stay connected, so the king ends up walking the plank. Knight takes d4, opening up the d-file and threatening knight to b5, forking the king and the queen. Now the queen runs away to avoid the fork, but then bishop to f5, a bolt from the blue. That opens up the rook's line on the king. It double attacks the e-pawn, and although the pawn did not take the bishop back, we're going to take a look and see what happens if it did. We would have seen knight to b5 double check, and whether the king goes left or right, there's going to be a mate. King c6 would be the worst option because queen takes d7 would be a mate with the black king right in the middle of the board. Vishy's second best move of all time comes with another d-file issue. This time, the queens look like they're about to talk to each other, but the bishop's in the way. So Vishy opens the door, but where to move the bishop? We'd love to give check, but there is no way. Black's king looks like he has just enough defense, but not to Vishy. We have bishop to g6, literally putting the bishop on what seems like the worst possible square. The bishop can be captured with 2 different pawns, but if it is captured, Vishy's queen snags the enemy queen. So instead, the knight hopped back to e7, but we want to see what would have happened if the queen had captured. And if so, Vishy would have brought all of his friends to the party. Rook takes e6 check. This pawn is pinned, so the king has to run sideways, but then the dark squared bishop plays. Bishop takes h6 check, and look at that poor black king. He only has 1 move. Bishop takes f7, and I would not want to be black in this position. A very sad way to end the game. But Vishy's #1 move of all time came in 2013 in one of the most famous chess tournaments of all time. In this position, his bishop is in danger. You'd think he'd save it, but no, he puts another piece in danger, seemingly twice, with the unbelievable knight on d to e5. This move must have brought the house down. If anything gets captured with a white pawn, white ends up getting mated. For example, if f takes knight, then we would have seen queen takes d4 check, king moves over, and then a queen sacrifice on g1. The rook has to be the one to capture, and then knight to f2 mate. If we go back to the starting position, let's just say instead the bishop was captured with d takes c5, then we would have still seen queen to d4 check, king to h1, knight to f2 check. Rook takes f2 doesn't save white because after queen takes, there's too many checkmates on the back rank and on g2. So let's just say the king moves sideways. Then we would have seen the very famous smothered mate, knight to h3 double check. King moves over, queen to g1 check, forcing the rook to take, and then the king is smothered by his own pieces, which allows knight to f2, the prettiest checkmate in chess. We're very excited to have Vishy bringing this fun, this excitement, and the joy of chess to his native India.